Now that is what you call an entrance. Welcome to the Totally Magic channel and another great little card trick. Now this is a trick that anybody can do. Here's a performance. We take a deck of cards, 52 cards. You can examine them. They are just normal. I wouldn't cheat you for the world. And we're going to give these a quick mix up. You're probably noticing here I have a pen and a piece of paper. That can only mean one thing, that we're going to do a trick that involves a prediction, a premonition, and you're absolutely right. You see, before we start with the cards, I'm going to take this piece of paper and a pen and I'm going to write a single word prediction before we start. Talk among yourselves while I do this, and I'm going to leave that in full view throughout. Okay, I can't change that. I'm committed to that premonition. We'll leave it there. We come to the cards. Now I don't need all the cards, so I'm just going to cut a few cards from the top of the pack. We can give these a little mix up. I know there's not many of them, but they are just regular cards and we'll just give them a quick mix up. But you're going to handle them. You see, I want you to take those. I said we're not going to use all the cards, so maybe deal what? How many have you got there? Maybe 7 cards. You should have enough for that. So the spectator deals out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll take those. Now, from those 7 cards, you're going to choose 2 cards. So let's keep it simple. The cards were shuffled, you dealt them out, and now I'm going to ask you to remember the top and the bottom card. Now I know it can be hard to remember 2 cards, so I'll tell you what to do. Take your smartphone, get the camera up, got it? Okay, remember that card. And then the bottom card, again, a snapshot, remember that card. Now, of course, I know where your cards are, so can you take those and shuffle them up, mix them up? Now you can mix them up like this. You can even wash the table with them. Okay, so mix them up so that there's no possible way that I could know where your cards are. Okay. Now, finally, I am going to read your mind. I am going to look into your eyes and read your thoughts. Think of the 2 cards. Okay. Yeah, I think that was the first card that you looked at. Concentrate on the second card. I think that's it. Is it? Yes, I'm pretty sure of it. I'm that confident. I'm going to get rid of those. Now, remember my prediction and your 2 freely chosen cards. Impossible as it seems, let's reveal what I found. And the 2 cards were the 5 of spades, the 7 of hearts. I said I wrote a prediction, a single word. Now I'm not going to get the 7 of hearts and the 5 of spades on there in one word. You see, you chose 2 cards for a reason. Add up the values of those 2 cards. 7 and 5 gives you how much? 12. Now I didn't write a number, I wrote a word. But luckily, the word was 12. And that is a great little prediction effect. So here is the tutorial for this particular effect. It's a great little trick and very simple. It's a self-working card trick. So anyone can perform this. This, to be honest, was one of the first card tricks I ever learned as a young child. And yeah, it's that old, but I think it's great. Now, I use 12 cards here, but you can use less if you want. Some people use 10 or 8. It doesn't really matter, just an even number. So I've got 12 cards here, but they're not any cards. They've got to be a certain type of card because, first of all, my prediction is going to be 12. So what I do is I take 2 cards that make up 12. So if I took a a 2 and a 10. They make up 12. What you're going to do here is build 2 piles of cards with 6 cards in each. So then I take another one, maybe an ace. What would make up 12? Well, an 11, so the jack. What if I take an 8 and a 4? Those make up 12. If I take a 9 and a 3, they make up 12. You get the picture here. Maybe a 6 and a 6 and a 5 and a 7. So you just need to make sure that in the stack they all make your prediction number. Okay, so you can use a different value if you want. Play around with the quantity of cards and also the prediction number. So that's what I've done. I then take these 2 packets and just put them together, and that's done. Now, these can be cut, doesn't matter, but these go on top of the pack. Now, on my performance, I did a couple of false shuffles and cuts. You don't need to do that. Also, I tend to use a breather card or a crimp card so that when I cut the cards, I take exactly the 12 cards that I need. So these are my 12 cards. You don't have to. If you want to just deal them off, you can say, look, we're going to use a few cards. You can deal them off. Now, I don't like the idea of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I always think that looks too fixed. I want it to seem more random. That's why I like to cut the cards. It looks as though it doesn't really matter, but of course it does. What you could do is when you deal the cards, keep talking and mentally count 9, 10, 11, 12 cards to yourself. The bottom line is, guys, you've got to have a packet of 12 cards to begin with. Once you've done that, you can mix these up, but only by cutting. So you can either just cut the cards like this. It doesn't matter if the spectator sees them. You can show them. There's no known order to them according to the spectator's view. Okay, so you can just cut these to give the impression that they're being mixed. You then give the cards to the spectator. Oh, by the way, don't forget at the start, you do write your prediction. You can just write a number 12 on there if that's your prediction number. I like to write the word 12 on there. I tend to do that right at the beginning. I know some people like to do it now once the spectator is holding the cards, but I like to do this right at the beginning. I'll leave that up to you. The spectator is asked to deal 7. Now, if you're going to use a different quantity of cards, now I've picked 12 cards, which means there's 6 cards in each packet. So you always get them to deal 1 more. So in this case, 7. All right. So just bear that in mind. If you were doing this with a packet of 10 cards, where you've got 5 cards in each packet, then when you ask them to deal down some cards, they're going to deal 6 cards. Always 1 more than what's in the packet. So because I've got a 6 card stack, I ask them to deal 7. So they deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The other card you can just take off them and just put to one side. Now, this is totally self-working, because if you followed all of this so far, the top and bottom cards will add up to 12. Let's take a look. We've got a 6 and a 6, which makes 12. Now, the reason I get people to take a picture is if they're on their own, getting a person to remember 1 card is hard enough nowadays, but 2, almost impossible. It's great if you get 2 people to remember 1 card and the other, if you want to do that. But if you're doing it on 1 person, everyone's always got their smartphone in their hand. I always say to them, just take a snapshot of that. just in case they forget, they can look back at the pictures. Right, so we've now forced that on there. From this point, the strength of this trick is when you say to them, now shuffle the cards. Now this can be any shuffle. They can mix this up as much as they like. Okay. But out of these 7 cards, 2 of them are their selection. How do you know? Well, when you put these back with the other cards, I tend to put them on top, and then I do an overhand shuffle one at a time to reverse the order. Why am I doing that? Well, because when I turn these towards me, the top 7 cards are the cards that they were choosing from. So the 7 cards, 2, 4, 6, 7, we know that they are thinking of 2 of these. How would I know? Well, believe it or not, in this packet, only 2 cards will make up your prediction. So what I do is I glance at these and I look. Now, it can't be a 10. One of their cards can't be a 10 because then there should be a 2 to go with it. There isn't. Then I get to this one, the 6. To make up 12, there must be another 6, and there is. It's as simple as that, okay? It takes a split second of you looking at these. For example, if I look at the 3, there should be a 9 here to make up 12. There isn't, so I know it wasn't that one. There will only ever be one pair of cards that makes up your predicted number 12. Okay, so I would remove these. The rest of the trick, you can get rid of those, you reveal these and the prediction. It's that simple trick. Hopefully that all made sense.